Good day. Nice to have you visit once again. I would like to talk with you today about the scandal regarding the British haemophilia patients who were all treated with infected blood products. I listened to two of the thousands of heartbreak stories yesterday on the BBC about the Factor VIII disaster, where the government imported blood products from the United States, which ended up with thousands infected with deadly disease such as hepatitis C or HIV. Why the infections? What were the products treating? In the 1970s and 80s, 4,689 people with haemophilia and other bleeding disorders were treated with a blood product called Factor VIII. They were unaware that Factor VIII was infected with HIV and hepatitis C viruses through the use of contaminated clotting factors. Some of those unintentionally infected their partners, often because they were unaware of their own infection. Because you get paid for blood, you do in America, so all comers, from drug addicts to street dwellers to prisoners, got cash for their blood, and nobody checked these donations from a safety point of view. The blood was treated to produce Factor VIII. The infections to those with haemophilia was principally caused by the plasma-derived product known as Factor VIII, a medicinal product which was sourced from the United States and elsewhere. The creation of such products involved dangerous manufacturing processes. Large groups of paid donors were used, as many as 60,000 per batch, and including prisoners and drug addicts. It only required one infected donor to contaminate an entire batch, which would then infect all of the patients that received that material. In July 1982, the American CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, reported that at least 3 haemophiliacs there had developed pneumocystitis carinii pneumonia. 2 had died, and that all 3 had used untreated clotting factor products. The CDC said that the occurrence among the 3 haemophiliac cases suggests the possible transmission of an agent through blood products. In March 1983, the CDC reported that blood products or blood appear responsible for AIDS among haemophilia patients. A British minister privately expressed concerns that AIDS was being transmitted by contaminated products, while the government publicly insisted there was no conclusive evidence. Newly uncovered documents from 1983 show. Among the victims of the contaminated blood scandal, which was the subject of a public inquiry, were nearly 4,000 British haemophilia patients, many of whom since have died. They were infected with HIV in the 1980s through Factor VIII. The Archer report was published in 2009, which aimed to uncover the causes of the events that led to the thousands of infections and deaths. Many files were reported as being missing. The investigation concluded they were in fact destroyed over a period from July 1994 to March 1998. When summarizing these events, it is stated, some of those who gave evidence to us suspected that there was an exercise in suppressing evidence of negligence or misconduct. In 1983, Ken Clarke, then a health minister, denied any threat was posed by Factor VIII. In one instance, on 14th November 1983, he told Parliament there is no conclusive evidence that AIDS is transmitted by blood products. However, documents discovered at the National Archives by Mr. Jason Evans, whose father died after receiving contaminated blood and who founded the Factor 8 campaign, paints a contrasting picture. In a letter dated 4th of May 1983, Hugh Rossy, then a minister in the Department of Health and Social Security, told a constituent, "It is an extremely worrying situation, particularly as I read in the weekend press that the disease is now being transmitted by blood plasma which has been imported from the United States. HIV screening for all blood donated in the UK only began on the 14th of October 1985. Hugh Rossy's letter was considered damaging enough for the government to seek to prevent its release in 1990 during legal action over the scandal, by which time Ken Clarke was Health Secretary. In another letter uncovered by Jason Evans, dated 22nd of March 1990, a Department of Health official wrote to government lawyers saying it wanted to withhold Rossy's letter, despite admitting the legal basis for doing so was questionable. It explained the problem with this letter is that the minister appears to be saying or reporting what he has read in the press, that AIDS was being transmitted by blood plasma at a time when statements were being made that there was no conclusive evidence that this was so. The official also expressed a desire to withhold a 1978 document because it referred to the singular lack of attention the Department of Health had given to Britain's blood products laboratory. Jason Evans, who gave evidence at the infected blood inquiry on the 11th of June, said, "These documents show that the government did know AIDS was being transmitted through Factor 8 long before they admitted it and years before they did anything about it. This letter proves once and for all that ministers were well aware of the dangers." He said, "I think Ken Clarke has serious questions to answer at the inquiry. This isn't about having the benefit of hindsight. Clarke was peddling false information for months when the grave risks were apparent in his department. Let's not forget that in the 1980s, with no treatment, AIDS was a guaranteed death sentence." Jason Evans said, "From the data we have, it's reasonably fair to say that the untreated Factor 8 product if the untreated Factor 8 product had been withdrawn from use in May 1983 or earlier, hundreds of lives would have been saved." Mr. Evans said, "My father would probably be still alive today." I thank you for your visit and hope to see you again soon.